Imagine an empire so feared that its very name made kings tremble. An empire that built the world's first true military machine and used it to carve out a domain stretching across the ancient world. This is the story of Assyria, the world's first military superpower. Our story begins in northern Mesopotamia, along the fertile banks of the Tigris River. Here, great cities like Ashur, Nineveh, and Nimrud rose from the dust. Around 1400 BCE, a new power began to stir. But it was between 900 and 600 BCE that Assyria truly became a name whispered in fear and awe. What made Assyria so dominant? War. For the Assyrians, war wasn't just a seasonal campaign. It was the very core of their identity, their economy, and their survival. They were the first to create a professional standing army, a force of dedicated soldiers ready to march at a moment's notice. While their neighbors were still using bronze, Assyrian blacksmiths were forging weapons of iron, giving them a deadly technological edge on the battlefield. But their true genius lay in siege warfare. No city wall was safe. They developed sophisticated tactics and machinery, from towering siege engines and battering rams to sappers who would tunnel beneath enemy fortifications. Yet, their most potent weapon was psychological. Assyrian kings weren't just conquerors, they were masters of propaganda. They used terror as a deliberate state policy. After a city fell, they would document their brutal victories on magnificent stone reliefs for all to see. These carvings, displayed in their palaces, showed scenes of conquest, mass executions, and defeated rulers paying homage. The message was clear: resist, and this will be your fate. Fear was their tool of control, ensuring that rebellion was unthinkable. From the mountains of Anatolia to the deserts of Egypt, the Assyrian war machine rolled on. They conquered ancient Babylon, subdued the pharaohs, and brought most of the Near East under their heel. At its height, the Assyrian Empire was the largest the world had ever seen. But you might be surprised to learn that the Assyrians were more than just warriors. They were also brilliant administrators. To manage their vast empire, they built an extensive network of roads and established a rapid messenger system, much like a proto-Pony Express. Provincial governors enforced the king's will, collecting tribute and maintaining order. This sophisticated bureaucracy held the sprawling empire together. And in one of history's great ironies, this brutal military state was also home to one of its greatest intellectual achievements. King Ashurbanipal, one of Assyria's last great rulers, was a scholar. He created one of the world's first great libraries at Nineveh. His agents scoured the lands for texts, preserving thousands of clay tablets containing everything from epic poems like Gilgamesh to scientific and medical knowledge. This library was a priceless repository of ancient Mesopotamian wisdom. So, what happened to this seemingly invincible empire? The very thing that made Assyria strong also led to its downfall: constant warfare. Generations of conflict exhausted its resources and manpower. The empire was overstretched, and the hatred it had sown among its subjects was about to be reaped. In 612 BCE, a coalition of their enemies, including the Babylonians and the Medes, united against them. They besieged and utterly destroyed the magnificent capital of Nineveh. The collapse was swift and total. Within a few years, the mighty Assyrian Empire had vanished from the stage of history, but its legacy was profound. The Assyrians had rewritten the rules of warfare and empire building. Their military innovations, administrative systems, and even their use of terror as a political tool would be studied and copied by future empires, from the Persians to the Romans. They showed the world what a centralized, professional military could achieve, forever changing the scale of power and conflict. The empire itself may have turned to dust, but the shadow of Assyria stretched long across the centuries. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by the empires of the ancient world, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories from history. See you next time.